Jadic, ismi si Koen, and today I'm going to review the entry of Ireland at Eurovision 2023, Wild Youth, with the song We Are One. Once again, Ireland picked their Eurovision entry with a special edition of the Late Late Show, a special Eurovision edition called Eurosong, in which 6 artists competed to represent Ireland at the Eurovision Song Contest in Liverpool. One of the competing artists was the former frontrunner of the Sex Pistols, John Lydon, better known as Johnny Rotten. He participated with the band Public Image Ltd, which is the band that he formed after the Sex Pistols, and they participated with the song Hawaii. He did not win, however, because Wild Youth won with We Are One. Wild Youth later released a revamp of the song together with the music video. I did not really follow the Irish national final this year, if I'm honest, but I listened to the entries, and I gotta say that Midnight Summer Night by Connolly was my favorite of this national final, and it still is, if I'm honest. I think We Are One is the kind of Eurovision song you'd expect AI to write. If you'd ask AI to write a Eurovision song about peace and unity. Like, the lyrics aren't that deep or anything. I mean, they're kind of outdated, the lyrics, aren't they? Because I kind of feel like we have heard these kind of lyrics so many times before already, right? And musically, it also doesn't really stand out to me personally, in my opinion. I mean, sure, the revamp had some slight changes made to the song, which definitely did not make the song bad or anything. I think it actually did kind of improve it, but not enough for me to like it that much more, personally, if I'm honest. I'm also not really feeling the music video for the song. I don't really get what it's trying to say, like them all wearing masks and then at the end the lead singer taking the mask off, but you can't really see him taking the mask off. I don't know, and I also don't know if this is like the idea they're going for on the Eurovision stage with the staging, but I don't really hope so for Ireland, because I don't think that would increase their chance of qualifying, if I'm honest. Look, I always thought it would be funny if Ireland would manage to get their 8th victory before Sweden would manage to get their 7th victory and be the country with the most victories together with Ireland at the Eurovision Song Contest. Especially since Ireland hasn't been doing so well in recent years, I think it would be even more funny if they all of a sudden would manage to get a victory before Sweden would get up to their amount of victories. It would have been even more funny and random if they would manage to pull that off. But I don't think they will, because one, I definitely don't think We Are One is an entry that's likely to win the contest, and two, I think Sweden is one of the countries to beat this year. So I actually think it's very possible that Sweden will get their 7th Eurovision victory this year. I think it's a shame that Ireland, a country that has the most victories at Eurovision until now, is doing so badly at Eurovision in these recent years. I think the Irish delegation should definitely reevaluate their approach to Eurovision. I mean, look at the way they pick their entry. It's during a special edition of a late night talk show. You can do better than that. I mean, look at Sweden. They hold a competition for literal weeks with high production value. I'm just using Sweden as an example because I was talking about Sweden earlier. But there are so many countries like Finland, Serbia. There are so many countries that are taking Eurovision so serious that they organize national finals with multiple shows with high production value. I don't really get why a country like Ireland, with the most Eurovision victories until now, doesn't do the same. Like, maybe Sweden getting their 7th victory will kind of be some sort of a wake-up call for the Irish delegation, so that they will maybe want to be the one country with the most victories again and go for an 8th victory. Maybe that's kind of a bit too far-fetched, but you know, I can dream. I hope something will change, because I don't think that the Irish people, especially the Irish Euro fans, deserve this kind of mediocrity from the Irish delegation when it comes to Eurovision. Now, I am saying that with some entries in mind as an exception, of course, like 2018 when they last qualified. That was a great entry in my opinion, and last year they also deserved to qualify in my opinion. I was really disappointed that they didn't, because I think That's Rich by Brooke actually was a very deserving song of the grand final, but they did not qualify. And let's not forget my personal favorites, Sarah McTurnan, of course. I also really like 22. I'm also in my Sarah McTurnan era right now because I am 22. You can watch my video where I made this shirt, and I also made pants. I don't know if you can see it, but it has now 22. It has the car of Sarah McTurnan, and it has a pop art explosion on the back pocket. Just wanted to show that. Anyway, my point is, there are still some songs that I really like in recent years, but when you look at the overall results of Ireland at the Eurovision Song Contest, they're not really doing that great, and I think something should change. I mean, there's no denying that the Ireland we're seeing now at Eurovision is the Ireland we know from back in the day when they would get victory after victory after victory, right? I mean, also look at Ireland in the Junior Eurovision Song Contest. In the most recent edition of the Junior Eurovision Song Contest, Ireland ended on the 4th place with a beautiful song in Irish. Where's that energy for Eurovision? Like maybe the broadcaster TG4 should be in charge of the Eurovision entries of Ireland as well as the Junior Eurovision entries, because RTE is in charge of Eurovision entries now and TG4 of the Junior Eurovision entries. And since the Junior Eurovision entries are, in my opinion, often better in quality and also their song in Irish, I think it would be nice to see something like that on the Eurovision stage. I would like to see where that could go if that broadcaster would also be in charge of the Eurovision entries. I mean, they sent a song in Irish to the Junior Eurovision Song Contest and they did well. The last time they sent a song in Irish to the Eurovision Song Contest was in 1972. Why not try again? I don't think that would be a bad thing to give a try, despite the fact that maybe not everyone will really understand the lyrics. But if you look at Lithuania last year, they sent a song in Lithuanian for the first time since 1994, which is a language that is not spoken by many people, like mostly just people in Lithuania, and they still managed to get to the grand final. So I don't see why the same couldn't be done with a song in Irish. So I think Ireland should try that as well, sending a song in Irish. Just try it. Anyway, back to Wild Youth. I don't have anything against them. I'm sure they're great and I'm happy that they get the chance to perform on such a big Eurovision stage. Also, they beat John Lydon in the national final, a singer who was frontman of a band that was named one of the greatest 100 artists of all time by Rolling Stone magazine in 2004 and was also inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2006. So beating that is sort of an accomplishment on its own, I think. Now, if they'll manage to get to the grand final, I'm not really so sure. I don't really think it's very likely. Like, I have my doubts. First of all, they're participating in the first semifinal, which is the strong one this year. It is a very competitive semifinal. They're also in between Portugal and Croatia, which are two entries which I think could overshadow Ireland. Second of all, I don't think the song is that memorable. Maybe they'd even struggle in the second semifinal. I could see that if I'm honest. Now, I would love for Ireland to score well, but I don't really see that happening this year. There is this one chance that this song has such a feel-good and unity feeling to it that televoters will really like it, because the semifinal qualifiers are only decided by the televoters this year. So maybe people will actually vote for that because of that feel-good feeling and that unity feeling. But still, I'm not really that sure if that will happen. That being said, I do think it's kind of sad that a lot of people do seem to think like this about the Irish entry and kind of seem to take the joy out of the Eurovision experience for Wild Youth, especially during the Eurovision pre-party in Barcelona. They didn't really seem too happy to be there because the crowd didn't really seem to be that supportive of them, which I think is a shame because the whole point of Eurovision is to be supportive of every country basically and every entry and artist, but that didn't really seem to be the spirit during the Barcelona pre-party. But during other pre-parties that I've seen online, it did seem like people were more supportive of them, which I'm happy about because I think every Eurovision artist should feel supported. So I'm also confident that that will be the case during the Eurovision Song Contest itself, because generally the audience at the Eurovision Song Contest itself cheers for basically everyone. So to conclude, I don't really listen to the Irish entry that often, if I'm honest, because I'm not really a big fan of it. I think the song is something we've heard many times before, which doesn't really bring anything new to the table. I think Ireland should kind of reconsider how they're approaching Eurovision, especially looking at how successful they were in past years, like back in the day. I want to see that Ireland again at Eurovision, because right now I don't really feel like Ireland will qualify to the grand final once again. And that's about all for now. What do you think of We Are One? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you like this video, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching and hopefully until next time. Dank u wel.